Good morning. Welcome to Wake Up Leadership
Training.
where we lead.
Where we lead. I'm Pastor Jason.
I'm Pastor Scott.
And today we're going to be talking to you about how to build a team at Living Word Bible Church.
Yeah, how to build a team.
We're really at building a team anywhere.
Anywhere. You know, God's given us all assignments in different seasons. We have different things that we're in charge of. I remember in my early years, me and you did our coffee grounds together. And then
It was a little church service for young adults.
Then you did your marriage. Now, what made your marriage like blow up in crazy class was what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
That whatever God's given you, He always wants to include others. He says anyone who's by themselves isolates himself. And so He desires for not you to do it by yourself, but instead there's a team that is going forward.
My Sunday school class had a team of 20 people. All had different duties.
There's Sunday school classes that don't want to have 20 total that go to it, let alone...
Yeah, and they all became such a tight-knit group of people. So we're going to teach you from some of our own experiences, but the first thing we want to say is, what is our number one priority for any team or any group?
For you. And this should be you, even if you're not Living Word and you're your church, you're a pastor, you're working real estate, wherever you work, your number one is relationships.
It is.
It's really the number one Jesus said for everything.
Knit people together. And the number one priority, if you're lead over ushers or altar ministry, your number one priority is to get people to knit together, create opportunities for relationship. Your number two priority would be the duties.
And I want you to see it this way, because let's say I'm going to give the department called widgets. If you're over the widget department,
okay,
and you got Ted, right, and Sally in the department, but your complaint is, well, I get people and then I lose people. I get people, then I lose them. People don't stay very long.
It's because you're asking people to show up for a duty, and they won't stay, but they will show up to see each other.
Yes, for the
relationship. Hey, are you going? I'm going to be there. You're going to be there. And that's something we need to know about church today. You know, people don't go to church because of the sermon.
No.
Now, the sermon's important. It's necessary, and it better be good. They don't go to church because of the music.
No.
Because, you know, you can get the best sermon on any topic you want from the greatest preachers in the world anytime you want on YouTube.
Right. And it's good. Joel's hard to beat.
So, and we can get great praise and worship music in our car. What gets us to God's house, the future of God's house is going to be held together by the glue of relationships. You going to church? I'm going to church. You going to church? I'm going to church. And then what happens when I get discouraged? I fell out of church.
Doesn't matter. If you got relationships, it's the glue.
Hey, where you at?
Where you at? And they're like, well, I give it. And they're like, oh, stop. Come on. Let's go get coffee. Let's talk. It's the relationships is that glue that keeps them also in your department, because people are people. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Your co-leader is going to make mistakes, and people get hurt. But it's that relationship.
And that team culture, if they all know each other and they're all bros or sisters or whatever, they're like, hey, where were you on Sunday?
And you find out in the sports world, now we're talking big teams, the teams that don't have as much talent, but they say there's something that just clicked.
A cohesiveness.
There's a click. I remember when the Houston Rockets back in the 90s got all of the stud players.
Oh, they had Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, Drexler. The list went on. There's more than that.
I don't even, yeah.
They couldn't win.
It was crazy. They couldn't win because they didn't have the click. Yeah. They didn't have the, and so this is your thing, is to be thinking how, like, throughout the year, how do we have like little get-togethers and little
create
gatherings?
Relationships.
How
it can't be all work.
How do we get there early, and man, we have a little prayer time, a little relationship time, and you got some donuts. I remember Tim would bring some donuts and stuff in for the guys, and they'd have some donuts. Built one of the greatest usher teams we've ever had at Living Word Bible Church. And you found that they were about, yes, ushering was part of what they did, but relationship is what kept them together.
Create opportunities for society, relationship for people that are relationship hungry to meet each other. And just kind of let that thing go.
And I want to say number 3, whatever, I don't know what number we're on, also that...
50. We're on number 50.
That when you and I got anything, the first thing that was on our mind, and we got it from our parents, was, okay, build a team.
Yeah.
Because I know that it's easy, it seems easier to do it on your own. Well, I'll just do it all. I'll do all of this.
Because people make mistakes, and it's hard to manage people, and then they don't show up. You know what, I'll just do it.
But if you get 5 people, even if they're making mistakes, you can get a tremendous amount more done than you on your own. And then you end up making mistakes.
And it's really not just about the duty, it's about the people, isn't it?
It's about the people.
About giving the people a position so that they can serve and find that value and give to the Lord and express their talents and be empowered. It's about growing. See, church is about growing people, not about getting a job done.
Right.
So when you include people, now you're growing people. Oh my gosh. Isn't that the goal?
Right.
Right? Of the 5 levels of leadership, number 3 is I grew because I was part of that. Like I became better at my job from the skills I learned from being in this team.
So your job isn't to do the work. So you got to get that mindset. Your job isn't to do the work. Your job actually is not to do any work. That's your goal.
The best team builders are usually the people who don't want to do things. Like I don't want to say
so
lazy, but
I think I was.
Like, I'm not going to do that. I'll get people to do that.
Right. I don't want. I hear our wives who are some of the best team builders. So I don't want to do that. But you have to look at it another way.
But there are people who do.
Here's another way you have to look at it, though. When you do it, you're stealing somebody else's opportunity to build God's house.
Because God gives grace for people to do things, and they're going to love doing the thing. Yeah.
You hate it. You see, you're mad at the whole time I got to do it all. When God has people that you're stealing their opportunity.
Yeah. And so number 1 thing that we say is, obviously you pray, you find the right person, but you've got to ask people.
Right.
The biggest key of building a team is what? Ask people.
Ask people.
No, ask the pastor to announce it from the pulpit.
No, they want the one-on-one. It doesn't. Yeah, I thought that in my early years. I'll just announce, hey, I need some people to help out with this. All right, because I'm Pastor Scott.
Yeah.
And no one shows up.
Or the ones who show up only show up once.
They show up once. But here's how it is. It's that one-on-one ask. And what you have to realize here, so especially staff, we're talking sometimes to staff, is we go, well, we got to pay them to do this and pay them to do that. Because we've been taught that money is people's motivator. People do things for money.
Right.
Yet you look around, even within the world of soup kitchens and all of these things that are going on that are helping people all over the world, that they're not paying anyone. Because the biggest motivator, Lombardi said this, the biggest motivator for people is that people want to make a difference. That's the biggest motivator. At the end of their life, they want to feel like, I did something. I was a part of something.
Yeah.
And so when you realize that it's not about paying people, right? Because if you pay people, they're there for the money. But if you empower people, they're there to make a difference. And you'll get a whole different person that shows up.
Well, a person who's unpaid is learning ownership mentality.
Right.
And what I mean by that is it may be for some people the first time in their lives or one of the few times in their lives where they're doing something because they want to. Right? Not because they have to.
There's a difference.
I don't have to work for money. This is not about money. Nobody's going to get mad at me if I don't show up. I literally am. It may be one of the few times in life where I'm doing something because I want to, not because I'm a slave to what someone else is telling me to do.
There's a freedom in that.
So the Israelites came out of slavery, and God said, I want you to build a tabernacle for me, anyone whose heart prompts them.
Right.
What was he saying? He was like, I want volunteers. Why? Because he's pulling them out of slave mentality and into ownership mentality.
Wow.
Ownership mentality is actually learned when we're doing things that we're not being paid for. And then God becomes our reward.
And it's the greatest motivator. When I have to do something, I have to go down to the church and run this and do that. But when you're volunteering, boy, you see these people around the church and the place, there's an excitement. They're there early.
We got musicians show up at the church at 6 o'clock in the morning and stay until 2 in the afternoon on a Sunday.
You said this.
And they do it and they love it.
We had a practice and the paid people didn't show up.
Yes.
And all the volunteers
were there.
Show up.
So there's some hints there that you don't think you can't rely upon the volunteers. You can. They are going to be so faithful. Praise God. And so
once you get them,
be Spirit-led. And then the thing we want to say is you get leaders and captains who, see, when I might have 7 people I can influence in my life. Most people, they say, have about 7 people they can influence in their lives.
You got 8. You're more.
Woo! Jesus had 12 because he's Jesus.
He's Jesus.
And so I might be able to get 7 people on a team. But once I've built that team, I'm tapped.
You got all your people. Everybody you're using. Friends.
So if I can instead tap one person and say, okay, you're going to be a captain. And we say like, okay, be a captain over the Saturday night service for this department.
Over the widgets.
So you don't do Sunday morning. And this is part of building strong families, isn't it? Because you're not using people all weekend long and taking them out of their home and families. You just get one person to be a captain over maybe the 8 o'clock service. Hey, you're the captain over the altar ministry at 8 o'clock. Now, as captain, I need you to do something for me. I need you to get 4 people. I need you to get 6 people. You get 6 people over the next few months to join your team. You get them trained, and then that's your Saturday night team. That's your 8 o'clock service
And I
team.
need you, and see what Jason's
You're getting
saying
leaders.
here. You're empowering people. People want to grow. They do, deep inside, they want to grow. They want to be empowered. They want to feel like that they're making a difference,
Yes.
but that you're putting something in them. And this kind of goes to maybe during some of your relationship time, maybe you have a little teaching time. Maybe it's 5-10 minutes of, you read a Maxwell book and you just kind of gave them some nuggets on leadership. And so when you say, go get 4 people, then make one of those people your assistant.
Yes. And number 2, so when you're on vacation, things are handled.
Yeah, but then here's what you're doing. You empower them to make a difference in somebody's life. And so it's how you say, hey, you're going to grow them up. Because here's what, God's going to take you to a higher place at some point in your future. So we got to have somebody that can just step in. Moses has his Joshua that was just able to step into his shoes that he had. And so you got to have a Joshua there in the waiting and empower them.
Yeah. And part of empowering them and lifting them up and encouraging them, you're meeting with your team. So let's say you get one leader over this, you get a captain over the altar ministry. That's one person that you've got, and they're building their team. And then you get a captain over the 8 o'clock service. Now you got 2 people, but now instead of you being able to manage 6 people, right, the most you could probably get to do something, you could have 6 people who all got 6 people. Now you've got 36 volunteers doing things, and you're just meeting once a month with your 6. Once a month, you bring them in, you have society, you have a good time, you train them with the John Maxwell thing.
And you get to hear, all right, what's working, what's not working. You're getting that feedback. They feel like they're a difference. And with those 6, you're making them feel valuable and important.
And you need to do that. You have to make them feel valuable. I mean, you need to love them for reals, not pretend. like these people are helping you. Your heart should be really, really open
You're
to these.
encouraging them.
You can't pastor everybody, but you can shepherd the people that are on your teams.
I learned this when I first came onto the church. I became the administrator, and part of my job was to take all of the people with departments out for a breakfast or a lunch and help them. Now here I am. I'm 24 years old, 25 years old.
Yeah.
I think I know everything. And I would come to the meeting with a list of things they did wrong. And it wasn't long before I lost.
They didn't want to have lunch with you.
A lot of my leaders, they wouldn't want to have lunch with me. And so I was talking to Dad, and I was saying, I'm doing this. He goes, well, what do you do? And I explained, he goes, well, no, that's not how you do that.
Yeah.
He says, no, when you get out, tell them about their wins.
Yeah.
Tell them about, and then ask them, and they'll tell you. So I began to take them out to lunch, and I'm like, man, this is great. I'm seeing what you're doing in the team. What's going on? And they're like, well, we didn't have anyone show up for here, which was the same thing I used to say. Right. He's like, so, and they already came up with the solution. They're like, so this is what I'm putting into place. So your job is encourage.
And help them win.
Because they want to win.
I'm here to help you win, and I can be the resource that you need to win. So tell me what it is that you need, and I'm going to work on this for you. And so really valuing, loving them, empowering them, and letting them make mistakes.
They're going to make them. Just like you made mistakes.
It's okay.
And when you made a mistake, what did you want? Did you want that person that was on you and mad, or did you like the person that's like, oh, it's all right. You gave your best. Let's do better, right?
It's a really good point. The modern philosophy, like you read the Good to Great Jim Collins book, and you got to get the right people, and then you'll be successful. That's not Jesus' philosophy. He didn't go and find the person who was qualified to be a disciple. He went and found fishermen.
Did he find the people that knew the Bible the best?
And Peter made a lot of mistakes, but he kept having mercy for Peter. Peter denied Christ 3 times. He tried to tell Jesus he wasn't going to die on the cross. He went fishing after
he's so angry all the time. He's so passionate.
After the resurrection. Peter made a lot of mistakes, but Jesus always had mercy on him. When you see somebody that can't do the job but wants to, and you help them become capable and able, and you help lift them up to that position, they'll be with you forever. They'll see that mercy, they'll sense the love, and they'll always be part of whatever it is that you're up to in your life. Because why? Because you lifted them up, you had grace, you had mercy. It's so easy to say, well, they'll just never cut it, so forget it, let them go. Right. That's the world system, but we're a family. And in family, we just love each other.
Yeah, I don't do that. I go, well, Peyton can't do the dishes very well, so you're out.
You're out.
Pack your stuff. Get out of the house.
You're fired. That's the world system. We don't fire people in God's house.
No.
They're family. They're forever. And so we just lift people up, and when people aren't happy with what they're doing, it's possible that it's just time for them to transition into another position somewhere. Right. But to have that grace and have that mercy. And when you're asking people, I wanted to come back to this. When you ask people,
right,
you really need to learn how to sell what you're asking. And I don't mean manipulate. I mean, you can say it different ways. Some ways are going to sound better than others.
Hey, you want to be an usher?
Yeah,
No.
Probably not. I don't even know what that means, and you didn't help me. Hey, do you want to help set the atmosphere at the Living Word Bible Church and help get
And really
people,
get people
part of
open,
the ministry?
Get people open to hear the Word of God.
Yeah.
There's people that walk in those doors that don't know Jesus, that aren't saved, that they're hurting.
Yep.
And we have an area that we can to help that.
And here's what we do too.
Once again, they want to make a difference.
We only ask you to do one service.
Right.
When you need to miss, it's okay. If you need to miss multiple times, it's all right.
Because
we're a family-growing church. When you need to be gone, we're going to train you.
Right.
You're going to feel empowered. You're going to have everything that you need before you start. You really have to sell what it is. Like, hey, I want somebody to run camera. Well, might sound overwhelming. It might sound uncomfortable. It might sound like a chore. What if you said, hey, can you help us broadcast this service to the rest of the world?
And we're going to train
touch lives. We're going to train you on stuff that you've never done before. It's going to open up your mind to technology. Are you good with technology? Because I tell you what, this is really going to help you with technology.
Yeah.
And it's very comfortable. We only ask you
See how he said it? I'm in.
We actually only ask you to do one service, and really, of the entire time that you're doing it, it's only intense during the sermon part. So the worship part, it's not as intense. So that we're cutting to the lyrics a lot. We're cutting to other cameras.
And they go, well, I'm kind of busy. Okay, here's how I would do it. I go, can you give me one a month?
Yeah. We're going to train you.
Because do you know that one a month is better than none a month?
It's right.
And they go, well, I guess I could do one a month.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so and I guess we're going to probably get to this here in a second, is that, okay, but before I put it on the camera, I'm going to really make sure that you're ready and trained.
Yes.
And so I'm going to train you and make sure that because this is the thing, people have a fear of failure.
Oh, totally. Especially in God's house.
And so
that's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. There's souls on the line
Pastor
here.
jumps on pew stuff. What am I going to do?
Where's he at?
You're crying babies. How am I going to address moms when if you're an usher or whatever that pressure might be? Or it just sounds like a lot of work. It sounds laborious. Well, I heard that they just, they're going to overwork you here and burn you out. I heard other people got burned out at church. You have to take all those things away.
Yes, disarm.
We're not going to do any of that. We're going to love you. It's going to be easy. When you need to miss, it's all right. And then, but mostly, remember this, and I go back to what we've originally said, is that you're trying to get leaders, not workers. You want to get leaders who can get workers.
Right.
Does that make sense? And so you might get a worker that you're going to groom into a leader, but you even letting them know early on that we're going to train you on the camera, but eventually I want you to be kind of a team captain, and we're going to arm you with this. It's going to be easy, but you're going to get, I want you to raise up a team that would have, 4 or 5 people that are under you. And
when you're putting together your sales pitch, remember, people want to make a difference.
That's right.
How do I sell what we're doing? If you're in charge of the greeters, when people walk in those doors, that we're probably, the pastor even says this, we're the most important department because we set the mood for the entire service for that new person. You got an amazing smile. I mean, you just seem to be happy all the time. I think that you would be incredible.
Really?
At the door. I do. I think you'd be incredible at the door.
I should do it. Actually, sounds really good. Are you talking to me or?
I'm talking to you.
Oh,
you
yeah.
in?
I want to do it.
Okay.
I preach at the 9:15, so I can't do it then.
So here's just show up. Just show up. So then, what I would say then, right? Tell me if this is right or wrong, Jason. So I go, just show up at 9 o'clock and go to that door.
No, that's not going to help me. No, you've got to tell me.
What happened?
You need to tell me that you're going to hold my hand. So what we're going to do is you're actually going to shadow someone. This is how we like to train at Living Word. Is there's a shadowing first. You're going to shadow somebody who runs camera. You're going to shadow somebody who greets. You're going to watch them do it first. You're going to do this for a couple weeks until you feel comfortable being out on your own, and then you'll step into.
And here's what I would do. I'm just telling you what I would do.
Yeah.
And what I have done is I would have a trainer.
Yes.
If I was over the widgets, I would have somebody, because once again, I've empowered somebody that maybe has that gifts with people and stuff.
That's all they do. You're my trainer.
You train. So then we're going to get people to you, and then you're just going to simply train them, and then when they're ready and gone through, and they'll develop it. That's what's fun. They want to make a difference. They'll develop the training. They'll get better week after week. Okay, I think I need to add this and add that, and then all of a sudden, now I don't have to train you.
And I've noticed this too. When you create a seat that's empty, God fills it. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
As soon as I say, you know what, Lord, I think I want a trainer for my department, all of a sudden God goes, well, I wasn't going to send you Bob.
Because you didn't have a position.
Because you didn't have a position for Bob, and that wouldn't be faithful. But now that you said you want a trainer, I can finally release Bob to come and ask you about joining your department.
Right.
Does that make sense?
He'll bring Bob.
He'll bring Bob once you create space for Bob.
Oh, that's so good, Jason. If there's no space, then why bring Bob?
No, because you're going to say no and you have nowhere for him, and then Bob's
or you're going to put him in the wrong
frustrated.
position, and Bob's going to be doing something that really God didn't design him to do.
That's right.
He was designed. What do the big corporations do? They just go, all right, go build websites for us. No, the best ones.
Yeah.
Even when I got a job at Home Depot, you sat under a training. It was 1 week. I know my mother-in-law, when she went in to fly for Southwest, it was like intense. I think it was a month long, like 40 hours a week.
Wow.
They trained them.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to throw a steward. They don't just go, all right, here's your outfit, go steward.
There's some soda and some ice.
Yeah, figure it. You've flown, right? You know how this works.
Yeah.
You got to do the stupid speech up there and just tell them how to do a seatbelt.
It's true.
And so that's what I would do. Anyway.
Okay, well, that's our training. Do we have anything else to say?
I think we'll stop and we'll continue next time.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Be blessed.